Yeah. It's painfully honest. Yeah. You know the vibes. Welcome to Painfully Honest. Yeah. You know the vibes. It's Painfully Honest. Welcome to Painfully Honest. It's Painfully Honest. Welcome to Painfully Honest.
There comes a moment in many of our lives when we realize something powerful and sometimes unsettling. The world may have already decided who we are before we've had the chance to decide for ourselves. Maybe it happens in childhood, in a classroom, around a dinner table, or in a moment when the version of you people expect doesn't quite match the truth you feel inside. And in that moment, a question begins to form. Do I become who the world expects me to be, or do I have the courage to become who I truly am? That question sits at the heart of today's conversation because finding your voice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Often it's the brave decision to choose authenticity over approval. Today's guest understands that journey both as a person and as an artist. She is an emerging voice whose creativity flows through poetry, spoken word, and music. She is a poet, spoken word artist, and singer-songwriter with a fire pen, fearless authenticity, and the kind of individuality that true stars are made of. So tonight, I present to some and I introduce to others the fearless and beautiful Corey Butterfly. Welcome to the Painfully Honest Podcast, Corey.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? How are you doing?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I can't complain. I can't complain at all, honestly. I really, really can't. Thank you for saying yes and coming and playing I like to say the sandbox with us. But yeah, so before we get started, how are you showing up today mentally, creatively, and then emotionally? How are you today?
Say mentally, I feel really rested. I feel really good. I ended up, work ended up being canceled today because of the storm, which ended up being a blessing in disguise because I didn't realize how tired I was. So I really got some rest today, which was really needed. And so, yes, and rest I feel like helps unlock some creativity. And I've been so busy the past couple of days that I haven't been in a creative mode. But today, I finally, after resting, I got into a creative space again. So I'm showing up. Yeah, with all that energy and emotionally feeling really good.
Okay, okay. Well, that's cool. That's cool. It's crazy. What is the weather doing there? Is it really, really bad or it's just raining?
It's not too bad, honestly. They was predicting it to be a lot worse, so all the schools are closed down, and I work in a school, so we was.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, I'm glad you're safe, and I'm glad that you were able to get on tonight because you could have canceled. But I am glad that you came to play with us today. So we are talking to Corey tonight, finding my voice before the world does. So tell me, what does that title mean to you, Corey?
I say that title speaks to me a lot, especially the way you were speaking in the intro. It really touched me because it definitely took courage to be able to speak. I've been a writer my whole life, but I didn't start speaking and doing spoken word poetry and music until later on in life, until I was in my college years. So,
Really?
when I took the stage for the first time and I started doing that, it was nerve-wracking because poetry can be really personal, and sharing these stories and sharing these things, like it can be difficult. Even with my book that I have coming out next month, like I sat on it for a long time because it was so personal to me. I eventually realized that it's bigger than me, so much bigger than me. And
Yeah,
I had the
yeah.
the privilege of being able to share some of the one of the poems from my book with
Okay,
a group of
okay.
young women, and the way it touched those young women, in that moment I realized it was bigger than me. So
You didn't start till later in life, as far as your poetry is concerned. So what sparked poetry in you? What made you think that, I'm writing my thoughts out and then eventually I want to present them? What brought you to that crossroad?
so it was actually in film school, and it was like a very weird story. So I was in film school, and during film school we had to take certain electives for accreditation. So one of the classes we had to take was drawing 101. I did not like that because I was like, I'm in school for film, I don't draw. But we ended up having this project, and for whatever reason, I decided to write a poem to go alongside with the drawing.
Okay.
And when I presented it to the class, I just read the poem out, not really knowing that I was doing spoken word. And my teacher was like, "You're really gifted, and this is, you should look into the spoken word community in Savannah." So I was like, "Okay." And so that's when I started. I got connected with some poets, and then I just went from there. Next thing you know, I was, on stages and performing, and
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And,
Okay. Okay. Now, one of the questions, before the world knew Corey, who was Dominique growing up?
That's a good question. Dominique growing up was very like full of life, like just big in everything. I always knew I was gonna be in entertainment
Uh-huh.
because I've been doing theater since I was a kid. I've been in talent shows. I love to sing, I love to dance, I love to act.
Hmm.
And so I was very bubbly, very social, very creative. And again, I've always been writing, always, always writing. I love
Really?
writing stories. Yes. That was
Okay.
me.
Okay. Okay. Now, I started writing poetry when I was in college. I had so much in my head, and I go back sometimes now and look at like some of the thoughts I had, some of all the grammatical errors and what is it? Misspellings and all this type of stuff and words I try to make up to sound all like poetic and everything. It's so funny to watch it, but it was very therapeutic for me.
Yes.
Very, very therapeutic.
Yes.
So when you are writing, how do you know, okay, this is going to be a poem. Let me write this down. Does it all come to you at one time? Does it come to you at 3 in the morning? Like what happens when you end up writing?
Yeah, it comes to me in different times. Like it can come to me at 3 o'clock in the morning and come to me
Hmm.
at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It just when it comes to me, I usually most of the time it doesn't all come to me. It never really all from beginning to end, but
Okay.
something will come to me and I'll start writing those lines, and from there it would just continue to grow. I
Mhm.
have so much writing. Like I have so much that I've written and some things are unfinished, but I'll start it and then I'll go back later and I'll finish it. Like it's really interesting. Like I'll write the words and sometimes it doesn't get all completed in one setting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's crazy because well, so that you all know, Corey and I we perform at an open mic in Marietta here. And so that's how we actually met. And
Mhm.
so I would hear you doing your poetry, and I'm like, I would reminisce over times that I used to write. Like in college, I used to read. I was a singer. I was a music major. So I was a singer. I was in the dance company. And then it was like one time in one day, I had to read my poetry. I had to do a song from my senior recital, and then I had to dance all in one day. And I felt so exhilarated just using and doing stuff that would came naturally to me that I enjoy. But poetry has always been a part of my life. Jill Scott is somebody that I really, really look at. When I listen to Jill Scott or when I listen to Erica Badu, India
Mhm.
Ari, there's a guy that I know, artist that I've been made aware of. His name is Bryn Joy. I don't know if you ever heard of Bryn Joy.
Nope, haven't heard of him.
Bren Joy. This brother is bad. So his sound is not necessarily all over the place, but he has one song called Weary Eyes or something like that he sings, and it's very jazzy and it's
Mm.
very poetic. The
Okay.
lyrics are very poetic. I'm a very lyrical person. So when you're on stage and I can hear it, even in your song that we're gonna be dropping the needle on today, it's like I could hear you. You're just talking, but sometimes poetry is like that. You're it's a human expression that is being performed because sometimes you have to experience other things to kind of find your voice, you
Yes.
know? And so I definitely understand that. I don't think I've ever recited anyone else's poetry, only I've only read it in the privacy, of my own, of my own home or whatever, but
Mhm.
I've never, tried to perform anybody else's stuff. I never thought I was a spoken word artist because there's a
Mhm.
difference in being a
Definitely.
poet and being a spoken word artist. And when I saw Jill Scott, that is when, of course, Maya Angelou, Sonia Sanchez, you know, those are people that I really 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 enjoy. But seeing Jill Scott on the stage, somewhat of a mainstream stage, being that they said back in the day she was a neo soul artist, but seeing her get up there and merge that music into poetry and then poetry into music and lyrics and it's like it's just so dope to me. It always inspires me. This new album that she has out now is what my soul needed at this time. It's so creative. It is so freaking creative and it beckons you to see what you got in yourself that's honest and real and bring it to life. So my goal is to kind of do like an EP or something like that this year. And
Okay.
then I think we're supposed to be working together at some point too.
Yes.
But I said all that to say I have always loved the art form of poetry. Always have loved it, and over the years, I've seen it in movie scripts when they do monologues. I've seen it when, people are writing. Joni Mitchell is another. She's not a spoken word artist, but her lyrics. I'm a huge lyric fan.
Too.
So like when the lyrics jump out at me, it's like, oh, let me run that back. What you
Yes.
say now? Like what?
Right.
So I'm a huge lyric person. So I love lyrics. So that's why I was drawn to you and seeing and hearing the variety. Like the first time I heard you all the way till now where you got music that you're displaying and the music is thumping, okay? Just so you know.
Thank you.
And I've listened to the song you sent me, and you sent me a clean version, and you sent me a you sent me a regular version. I was like, on the Painfully Honest podcast, we don't do nothing clean. This is all the way. I want all the smoke. You hear me?
Yes.
All the smoke. So I can't wait for them to hear this song. I really, really can't. But we'll go ahead and move on. So who were the people or experiences that helped shape the person you are becoming today?
Okay, yes, I would definitely always gotta shout out my mom because my
Okay.
mom was my superhero. Watching her take care of me and do what she had to do, like she just always inspired me.
Okay.
As a woman, as a young lady growing into a woman. But of course I mentioned Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
She from the moment that I first was introduced to her, I just fell in love with her. Like I fell in love with her words and how she spoke them, and reading them, just really inspired me. And then music wise, like I love J. Cole. J. Cole is my favorite artist because he is
Mhm.
such a strong lyricist in my opinion, and he's a great storyteller.
Yes. I
And so I really respect him as an artist, and he's one of those artists that he drops something like the Fall Off. I don't listen to that like 30
agree.
times all the way
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
going to listen to every song, and then there's no skips. So,
Yeah.
but I would say, creative wise, those people really inspire me. And even outside, like within the entertainment industry, people like Taraji P. Henson, she inspires me because of her grit, her determination to not let anything stop her. She moved out to California as a single mother and
Mhm.
still continued her dreams. And that
Yeah.
resonates with me so much as a
Yeah.
mother myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, and even Tyler Perry, like, when I was a kid, like I loved Diary of a Mad Black Woman. That was one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And it's like
Right.
classic. And I just feel like Tyler Perry, he defied the odds. And, even though he didn't have a Academy film background, he said, well, I'm still going to tell these stories
Mhm.
from my community. And
Yeah.
that's what he did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I applaud him for that. So those people really inspired me to,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
yes.
Okay. So, when did you begin to understand that your identity might challenge people's expectations?
I would say when I first started to get into music, that's when Corey was born. So I knew I needed an artist name because it was like I was at that age of like coming of age, right?
Yeah.
And everybody knew me as like, sweet Dominique. And I am sweet Dominique, but I got something to say.
You got some grit, girl.
Yes, I got something to say.
Yeah.
But I was kind of a little ashamed of it for like my, at first. So I was like, I need a alter ego. So
Okay. Okay,
that's how
okay.
Corey was born. Initially,
Yeah,
like Corey was like my shield. While I'm Corey, I could just be
yeah,
this person. Like I could be this other version of myself that's not afraid to that doesn't worry about what other people think or the politically correct or the politeness of stuff. Like, I could just be.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So where did Corey come from? Did you pull that? Because the spelling is unique too, and then butterfly. How did we come up with Corey Butterfly?
Yes, so first it was just Corey, and that comes from my middle name. My middle name is Sequoia. Yes. But I spelled it differently because it's the Coria part is spelled Quor.
Oh,
So I dropped the U, put an
uh-huh,
apostrophe, and you got Qori. Yes.
okay. So it's
So that's where
Q
Corey came from.
so it's Q apostrophe ORI.
Yes. But
Oh, okay, I got you, I got
yes,
you, I got
yeah,
you. But you spell it
yeah,
Corey, you just spell it Corey. I get it.
yeah,
I totally get it. Okay.
yeah.
And then
I spell it
and then
both ways.
okay. And
Yeah.
then butterfly. How did we come with butterfly?
So Butterfly came like a little bit later. When I first started making music, I made a couple songs that I mean, I like the songs, but once I started to really find my voice and figure out who I was in as a music artist and
Mhm.
poet, it felt like I went through a transformation. It felt like I went through a metamorphosis. Felt like I went through a becoming. During that, it literally felt like I came out of a cocoon, and that's when I started to feel like the butterfly. Like I felt like Corey was the worm, and then the Cory Butterfly was the aftermath, so that's when I attached butterfly to my name.
Okay, I hear you. Okay, Corey Butterfly. I like that.
Yeah.
I really do. It's very different. And I do see, like, when you're on stage, like, before you get on stage, you sit back, you're quiet, you smile and everything. And then when you get on stage, it's like there's this artist that comes. And I enjoy seeing how you've grown, somebody's mama said at the event, how you've grown and now you got music that you spitting, it's from your poems and different things, and then you got music, and I can't wait to hear your body of work. So as far as like a project, are you working on a project right now, or you're just kind of like, let me just do a song here and there, or are you actively working on a project right now?
I am actively working on a project, and you
Mhm.
can get, like, a preview of it. I dropped, like, an EP on SoundCloud, which
Okay. Okay.
composes the song "Slippin'," which I know will showcase today. I have
Yeah.
"Different," which I know you've heard "Different."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then I have "Minding My Peace," that's another song on there,
Uh-huh.
Um, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build it into an actual studio album. So Slipping and Different, I did record in the studio.
Mhm.
Um, and so basically I'm just trying to build it out into a bigger album. Right now the EP's called Is Complicated.
Okay.
Uh, but that's the tentative name. I think the album may change, but
Mhm.
it's really about like a woman that's coming to terms with the fact that she's been in a relationship that wasn't very healthy
Mhm.
and the different layers of that and the different stages of grief that
Mhm.
comes with that. So yeah.
Okay, okay. And so what I'm curious about, Corey, and I always ask every artist this. So your process, and you can only share what you're comfortable with sharing. I want you to, give us, all the ingredients to your recipe. But what is your process look like? Like when you know, okay, now I got a song, now I need to go into the studio, I'm gonna record the verse first. Like what does that look like with Corey Butterfly?
For me, my process again, like with the writing, it'll come to me in any moment in time. But if I'm being intentionally setting aside time to make a song, typically since my style definitely derives from poetry, there's definitely mingling of poetry and music. So I'll
Mhm.
tend to pull from even unfinished poems. And that can be a starting point for me if I'm listening to a new beat and
Mhm.
I need a little bit of inspiration. I get inspiration from words that I've written
Mhm.
before. And sometimes I'll make new words off the beat. It really just depends on.
Mhm.
But once I like craft the song together. Once I get in the studio, I have everything together. I have the
Mhm,
verses, I have the hook,
mhm.
I have everything.
Yeah,
Once I get in the studio, and my engineer says that I record pretty fast. I
right.
know I know exactly what I want to do, and yeah, but and then on in there I might add a little bit of razzle dazzle here and there. We like
Yeah,
do these
yeah.
different things. Yeah, once I get in the studio, I'll be ready.
Oh, you get a little oregano, you get a little salt, a little cracked pepper. I totally get it. I totally get it. I think that's really dope because it's like I know from my process, and it's been many years since I've recorded, but I remember this producer I was working with. I kind of got the feeling that he never really he wanted to always be the writer.
Mm,
So he was creating this beat like from scratch. So while he was sitting there, I did the did the
okay.
chorus, had that written out, knew how I wanted that in my head, decided what, whether I wanted 4-part harmony, depending on that. Then I wrote the verse, wrote both verses, then the bridge and all that. And so by the time he finished that song, Corey, I was like, all right, let's get it. I'm ready. What we doing?
I love it.
And
I
I
love
don't
it.
think I'm a fast writer because I second guess myself because I'm like, "Oh, does that sound good or does that sound right?" So I always second guess myself. So I said all that to say, when you're in the studio, you said you work fast. Does that impact you? Like, does second guessing yourself impact you in the studio at some point in time?
Oh, I would say not so much in the studio. Um, 'Cause like I said, I tend to have had the vision, entire structure of the song already
Mhm.
there
Okay.
once I'm in that space. But in the writing phase, I definitely will play around with things because again, sometimes I start off with written words and
Hmm.
trying to marry that to a beat. Like sometimes I have to edit, cut and edit, cut and edit. I have to like, okay,
Oh,
I like the way that sounds as written, but it doesn't work for a song structure. So I need to cut and edit here. I need to cut and edit. I need to rearrange here. Like it's like a whole art project with
oh yeah.
words.
I totally get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
So now you do that part, or is the engineer at the board doing it and you just kind of guiding them and telling them what to do?
So that's a good question because I was gonna mention like when with my engineer, the reason why I stuck with him is because it's like we can communicate through the music. He understands my sound.
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
he understands
Yeah.
the vision. And so we don't have to talk too much. Like once he hears the beat and I start recording, he understands where I'm trying to go with it.
Mm,
Which is so different. I've been in a lot of different studios and sometimes they try to change your sound or they try to control or manipulate things based off of what
mhm.
they but that's not the vibe I get. Yeah, we tend to work very coincide with each other, very collaboratively in the
Okay.
studio.
Love that.
Yeah.
Some people, I think for me in the past, when I've recorded, it was always that battle of, insecurity and then having to deal with producers in the studio trying to manage and tell you what to do and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, just back out the process, bro. Just let it be pure. I've always been curious, like Jill Scott's process. I remember her saying in one of her interviews for her first album, they just gave her beats. Like they were just giving her beats or whatever. She would hear it. She said, "Oh, I like it." She'll get the beat. And then she would just write to it. She didn't even know she was a singer. She didn't even like she was a poet. So she had been known around town as a poet. But by the time she got beats, so Love Rain Down, Lizelle, E flat, He Loves Me, all of those songs on the first album, like were so raw and so untapped, like, and they came from her. And it's like, and we know Jill Scott now, but then when we heard her first album, we didn't know who Jill Scott. So I think it's dope that she said, "Who is Jill Scott?" And then
Yeah.
the album just tells you who Jill Scott is.
Yeah.
But, like, I just think it's so dope when an artist kinda knows who they are, and, like, with you, I feel that you the way that you record it, different, and then the way that you record it well, you perform different because I haven't heard it recorded, but then Slippin', the way that you recorded Slippin', just it was, what, 2 minutes and 12 seconds, and I listened to all 2 minutes and 12 seconds at least, like, 6 times. I'm like, "Oh,
Aw.
I need this whole song because I need the second verse and I need the bridge." And I'm like, but you're just giving us a little sample, enough
Yeah.
to, have us drooling and wanting more. But I love how, your voice from poetry and your voice to being a recording artist, they are different, but then it's it's the same. Because I've seen you perform and I've seen you do your spoken word. And then, like, I just can't wait for them to hear slipping. But just the way that you flow over slipping, and when you go into when they hear it, they're going to be like, oh, okay. But yeah, it's really, really dope. So let me move on. So, what did it mean for you to personally choose the name Corey? So, when you
Mm,
said it was your middle name,
mhm.
so what did it mean? Why didn't you choose not saying that you had to, but what made you settle with Corey and not choosing like a MC something or, another name? What made you settle with Corey?
Once I uh, picked Corey and I started making my accounts, I realized that I'm the one and only. There's no other Corey. And I was like, this is unique. This is unique.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And you definitely want to stand out. So
yes.
that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, okay, okay. So when did you first realize that expressing yourself creatively or publicly could become a part of your purpose?
I would say once I started to recognize the response from the audience, because like you said, it's therapeutic. And for me, like, starting off, it was therapeutic personally. But once I started seeing how it touched other people and people would come up to me and tell me different things about, how they felt. Like even just recently, I had a show on Saturday. I
Mhm.
performed in front of some teens.
Okay.
And these two teen girls came up to me and they really were resonating with my poem.
Yeah.
It really touched me. It really touched me because I do care about my impact, and for them to say, like, "You have such a positive impact, like, I really love what you had to say," it
Mhm.
really touched me. So, yeah, I think, again, is the response from the audience that really made me realize, like, okay, and every time I perform, I constantly get that feedback, like, "Keep going, keep doing this, like, you gotta
Yeah.
keep doing this." So it's like, I feel like when I'm doing that, I feel in alignment, and so I know I'm walking in my purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the thought I had is like, I got to interview her early on. So when you at the Grammys, I'm gonna be like, y'all go to YouTube. Go to YouTube. I interview her. I interview her. I promise
Yes.
you. I promise you. I gotta see.
And Imma shout you out, Imma shout you out.
Oh, I appreciate that. Because Corey, there's a very authentic spirit that you have. And I don't feel like it's for show or anything. Like I feel like you are in tune to what you're doing and you're definitely going places and even further, over time, I'm pretty sure. But I feel like it's like that gumbo, when you put everything in it and you got to give it time, you got to do the roux and all of that. That's what I feel like true organic artistry is. It is a PJ Morton, it is a Erica Badu, a Algebra Blissett, a Cameron Corvée. These are just, artists that I'm fond of here in Atlanta. A Brand Joy, a Tasha LaRae, you name it. And it's just organic artists that put in that work
Yeah.
to actually make things happen with the art that they have, you know? Because a lot of times out here, and that's why I asked you about the name Corey, because when Beyonce came out, everybody wanted to be Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wanted to be
Mhm.
Sierra. Everybody wanted the long hair with blowing and all of that. And it's like you get further as an artist when you are authentic and you ain't focusing on what other folks are doing. You are making your own gumbo recipe. You might leave the sausage out and add beef. You might leave chicken, or you might add fish. You might take the okra out, just depending on whatever your recipe is. And then over time, you constantly focus on making that recipe stronger and stronger and stronger. Erica Badu said one time, you create the art. You don't worry about whether somebody like it or not. You
Exactly.
just create the art and let it go.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and and you look at what's the guy, I guess his name is Bernard. Oh, I forget his name. He just won a Grammy. Jesus, I forget his name. I'll have to figure that out. But it's Bernard something. Bernard something. I'm sorry. I forgot his name, but he is a dope artist and he actually sang background for Erica Badu,
Okay.
and he's really, really dope, but he's very unique, very, very unique and authentic. And that's what I feel from him. Like every time I see him perform, it is crazy. And a lot of times too, when I see some of these African artists, the South African artists, blows my mind. The music, like they record their music, they don't do it in English, they do it in their native tongue because they don't have to conform or make it, so that, oh, we want to make it so Americans can do it or listen to it.
Mhm.
They make it in there, and when they make their videos, it's in their native attire. It's authentic, and I think that is not that I think, but I know that that is the music that I am initially drawn to usually.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts about that?
I completely agree with you. I completely agree. I'm super drawn to authentic artists. I also like to call it conscious artists that I gravitate towards.
Mm,
But you have unconscious and conscious artists. And I feel like unconscious artists don't really care or pay much mind to what they're saying and how it's going to impact people. The conscious artists are very conscious about what they're saying, how it impacts people, but also still catering to their art, not necessarily basing their artistic decision, creative decisions based off of how other people feel,
mm,
but being able to recognize that once it's out there, it is out there. And that's just a conscious way of thinking. And me, I'm very big about that. Like I said, I've spoke with those teens. Like I care about my impact,
mhm,
especially because I know that the youth are looking at me. So with that in mind, I'm very conscious about what I'm saying, but
mhm,
at the same time, I'm very authentic to myself. I've believed in being organic since the beginning. So even
mhm,
when I started my Instagram page, like I've never like told people like follow me, like
mm,
making them follow me or like wanting to buy followers. I just watched my page organically grow and people naturally follow me. And that I like that more. Even if my page look like I have thousands and thousands and thousands of followers right now, like it doesn't matter to me because I know that the people who follow me, they actually genuinely want to follow me and they genuinely are supporting me.
okay. So, what does finding your voice actually look like in real life to Corey Butt?
I would say finding my voice in real life looks like me finally, like I said, at first Corey was kind of an alter ego. Over the past like year or so, I finally kind of like settled in. Corey Butterfly is who I am. Like,
Mhm,
she is really who I am, and I'm unafraid, unapologetically
mhm,
unafraid to be Corey Butterfly. Like Dominique and Corey Butterfly are together. And I no longer feel like I have to hide behind Corey to speak my truth. I feel like
yes,
Corey Butterfly in a way have made me more assertive in Dominique as well. So I
mhm,
feel like I've finally it's almost like at one point I feel like Cat had my tongue. Like I was too afraid to
yeah,
to
yeah.
speak my truth, but now I feel free to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is finding your voice. I think that is the main thing, finding your voice. A voice in how you write, a voice in how you sing, a voice in how you speak when you're doing your poetry, you
Mhm.
know, um, and those 3 don't have to be the same, because, and I think that comes with understanding who you are and how you want to express yourself. Because you may have a poem that's like totally up tempo and you like cursing and carrying on, and then very demure and sweet, expression. I liken
Mhm.
it to, do you remember when they had for black girls, what is it? I forget the name of the when the rain is not enough. I think it was Kelly Price. They were actually performing it at I think a BET Awards or NAACP or something like that. And that year, I think Tyler Perry's movie had come out or something like that. And you had, who is it? What's her name? Marsha Ambrosius. You had
Mhm.
Lettucey, who was Peaches. Then you had Kelly Price, and then you had Jill Scott, who was Sweet Thing. And
Mhm.
so when I say Jill Scott, she was Sweet Thing in that performance. She got a song on her album now called, you know, Be Great. I'ma go ahead and be great. Why not? And it's like all of your poems don't have to be the same voice because, like I said, the poems are an expression, is a performance of a human moment or a human experience. That's what poetry has always been for me. But I love the way that it varies. And even when you listen
Mhm.
to our album now, you hear different expressions on the album.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like that. I like the way that you explained that. The first thing that came to mind was like Janelle Monáe. I don't know if you've heard her song. I like that. You know, Janelle Monáe, she has her own unique thing and she knows it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great example.
And yeah, she's someone who inspires me too because she just walks in her truth. Yeah. Yeah. Even in her song, she's like, I'm a walking contradiction. Like, yeah, like because people do sometimes like to put artists in a box and they think, oh, you need to just sound like this or you need
Yeah.
to just do this. But she talks about how she has a multifaceted personality. She's complex. And that's how the human experience. We're
Mhm.
multifaceted.
We
And
are.
like you said, depending on, different circumstances and emotions and different things,
Mhm.
like it can shift and change. And I think that goes back to what you were talking about being an authentic artist. I think
Mhm.
being authentic is
Mhm.
understanding that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
And that complex part that you said, we are complex. We're all complex.
Yes.
And a
Yes.
lot of times leaning into that brings forth great art.
Yes. I agree.
It
I agree.
brings forth great art. Because I've
Yeah.
seen artists do artists such as yourself, Jill Scott, you know, Erica Badu. And I know like sometimes Erica Badu can be raw and raunchy. She got this one song. I can't remember where she was performing it, but she was talking about Annie ain't got no panties.
Yeah.
And she was sitting on the front pew giving the deacons a good view, and I'm like, or then Call Tyrone. That Call Tyrone came, it
Yes.
was a freestyle. Like it came
Yeah.
forth on the stage. I think they were on tour or something. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like you're
Yeah.
this talented. Are you
Yes.
kidding me?
Right.
And the song sound like she sat down and tried to write, was writing it and then performed it.
Mm-hmm.
But when she told me that song was like a freestyle, my God,
Yes.
I was in college when that came out. Oh
Wow.
my God. So like Erica Badu is really big up there for me as far as
Yes.
like artistic expression.
Mhm.
Lord Jesus, have there been moments when you felt pressure to shrink your voice to make others comfortable? What helped you push through those moments?
I would say what helped me push through those moments is definitely my spirituality, my
Okay.
faith in God.
Yeah.
Because again, once I realized that it was bigger than me, I
Mhm.
realized that okay, I can be the vessel. I can be the soldier on the front line that's gonna
Mhm.
say what needs to be said
Okay.
and make other people uncomfortable.
Mhm.
That's okay. Because when you're uncomfortable, that's when you really think, why is this making me uncomfortable?
Yeah.
What about this is making, and that's what starts and sparks conversation. The
Yeah.
conversation I feel like can help drive change or help bring
Mhm.
people together. So it's like once I realized like, okay, I have this gift and this gift been given to me. And some people like they don't necessarily have that gift or they're too afraid to. So like, I'll be the one. I'll take it. I'll do it. I'll be on the front line. It's
Okay.
because again, even some of my poems and some of my music is actually not even necessarily just my own lived experience. Some of it
Mhm.
comes from other people's experiences that they've given me permission to create and tell their story through my words, through my voice.
Mhm.
So yeah, push through is my faith and knowing
Yeah.
that again it's bigger than me.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
good that you already know that, because like we say, it's a gift. So it's not meant for us to hold to ourselves. It is meant to share. But I think as an artist, we have the responsibility to be authentic to ourselves first, but then also leave a little room for that creativity to just take wind. Like a feather, how a
Yeah.
feather just takes wind and it just moves.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I think of like the gift. It's not ours. Once it's been created, we put it out into the world
Yeah.
and we don't worry, oh, is it good enough or whatever? Of course it's good enough. God gave it to you. So it's already
Exactly.
been blessed. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yes.
To me one time in an audition, I had gone and I was auditioning to be in this stage play because be in a stage play, like I really do. And so I was in the audition and I was nervous and everything, and then my voice was cracking, and I was like, and so and I actually recorded the audition. I left that audition crying, Corey. So the guy told me, he said, it's not a matter of whether you're chosen or whether we want you or not. You've already been chosen.
Ooh.
So just put that out the door. You've already been chosen. So whether we want you or not, that doesn't matter. You've already been chosen and you have a gift that is clear. So what you going to do with it? What responsibility are you going to take for the gift that you have to go out into the world. Because some of us lead with our gifts. Oh, I gotta go make some money, make some money. And I never led with my gift that way. If
Mhm.
somebody said, "Oh, Calvin, come over here and perform," I'm gonna go because I don't know. I don't know. For what reason it would be, but I'm not one to say no. Now, there's some people that's just trying to get over, so you kind of have to have that filter.
Yeah. Right.
But the gift isn't ours to just keep to ourselves. We have to
Mhm.
take it in the, create sit with it and create the gumbo and then put it out into the world and let them have it and then just let it be. So what has been the most challenging part of living authentically in spaces that may not always understand you? Cool.
I would say just being able to handle the judgments, handle the people are gonna form opinions of you. But the thing is once I realized that like people are gonna talk and people cannot like you for just not like with no reason whatsoever.
Mhm.
But it can be challenging because, at one point I've definitely felt that feeling. At one point I definitely was a people pleaser. I wanted people to like me, I wanted
Mhm.
not to understand, but I feel like I'm being nice. At the end of the day, that's not healthy, and, I healed from that, and I realized, like, I don't need the validation of others because like you said, we've already been chosen. God already validated us, so we're gonna
Yes,
continue to
yes, yes,
walk in that
yes.
purpose. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Because it is a journey. It is a journey because it's like you don't think immediately you have to give that. Oh,
Right.
I have a responsibility. I got to be a really good steward. I
Yep,
got to, I got to practice. I got to make
yep.
sure, because I don't believe, like, I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, when you go somewhere and you hear somebody in a choir and the choir sound horrible, I'm insulted because I feel like when they say make a joyful noise, you just throwing the Lord anything. No, 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 you're not. No, we're not doing that.
We're
No.
not doing
No, you is making noise. Like, you
it.
have to a joyful noise sounds joyful to my ears. I'm just gonna put that
Yeah.
out there. I don't believe well, they sing it, and then people talking about praise the Lord, y'all sing, and I'm like, what? Woo!
It take you out
So
of it.
yeah, I mean, but as an artist, and then being as a singer, I was talking to really good a friend of mine, Candy Soul. See, we were as singers, we were born with our gifts. Like we don't have to we had to learn our gifts over time. But my gift is different than a drummer and a saxophonist and keyboardist. Like you had to learn that gift. My gift was in the cradle when I was born. I walk around with this every day. All I need is a good 20 minutes to warm up. And I mean, I got you, you know?
Yes.
And so I feel like we're in an elite because we walk around with our gifts and we have to be great stewards over our gift and learn, what it can and what it can't do. Because,
Mhm.
some songs you can't sing in its original key. You might have to take it down a little bit so that you can kind of have some wiggle room within that with song. So being a good steward and learning that voice, learning what you have is the main thing. So what misconceptions do people often have about your journey?
I would say people tend to tend to assume that I haven't experienced a lot of things in life, especially like hardships and stuff like that. People
Mhm.
tend to kind of assume that I've only been, I guess, spoon fed to the T, which I mean, I would say I had a pretty privileged, blessed life in some ways than others, but I've been through some things. I've been through some things, but I don't tend to show it. But yeah, I think that that's a big misconception of people have, or they think that I don't have certain culture because, like, yeah, that was something I dealt with a lot growing up. Like, because I was raised in like more of a PWI environment. So yes, so but my family's not from that. My family wasn't. That's just so happened to be my experience. So when I come home to my cousins and be around my family, like, they kind of treat me differently or they think that I'm different, especially when I
Mm,
was younger. So the misconception is that I don't have like an understanding of like Black culture or that I'm too whatever. But either way, it's just not true. Like I'm very much like I love my skin, I love my hair. I talk about it, in my poems. I talk about it in my music. But it took a long time for me to really get comfortable in my own skin because of those things.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
Okay. I
yeah,
never got that impression, but I totally understand. Get it.
yeah,
Totally get it. People just have an automatic impression of you, just seeing you or whatever without actually knowing you. Yeah, I
yeah,
totally get that. Okay.
yeah.
So how do you protect your peace while still being visible and outspoken?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have a lot of self-care. I spend time to myself. I spend time praying in prayer. I'm a very holistic person, so I believe in
Okay.
the spiritual, mental, and physical like health. So I prioritize taking care of myself, and
Okay.
I prioritize giving myself that space and time because I know that I need to have internal peace in order for me to be able to be a vessel out in the world to others.
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah.
got you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So have you ever had a moment where someone told you that your story helped them feel seen?
Yes, yes, actually.
Okay.
With
Okay.
with my book that I have coming out next month, when I shared that poem, the group of women that I shared it with, every single one of them was in tears. Like, and I didn't know because I was reading it. When I look up, and every single one of them was in actual tears, and it moved me so much. Yeah, it moved me
Okay.
so much because they felt seen, they felt heard, they felt like I really put words to something that they've been feeling for a while.
Okay.
And that was the moment that I was like, okay, yeah. Cause at that point I was teeter-tottering on if I was gonna release this book, okay? But
Mhm.
in that moment I was like, okay, I gotta release this book.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
And look, now when the book come out, you got to come back. You got to promise me that you're gonna come back.
I'll come back.
You
I'll
got to
come
promise me because we want to hear it. You got to perform some of it. If there's music going with the book, we want to hear that too. Anytime you have an open door policy, you're welcome to come back to the Painfully Honest podcast.
Thank
All
you.
right. So
Thank
yeah.
you.
So now we have come to the time in this episode where we get to listen to, and this is not a debut single, is it?
It's not a debut single. It's
Okay.
already out on
You already
SoundCloud, but it
released.
will be
Okay.
debuting on all streaming platforms soon.
So, all right, y'all. Well, we are going to drop the needle here on the Painfully Honest podcast. We have a music segment called Drop the Needle where we display dope artists and the music that they bring with them. Okay. So we're dropping the needle with Corey Butterfly on the Painfully Honest podcast. All right, here we go. Check it out.
Yeah. Corey Butterfly. Corey. You just wanna be close to your nigga. But you just feel him slipping away. You say I'm tripping, but you're steady slipping. Not paying attention. Did I mention you always in your phone? On and on. What's so wrong with showing me that attention that I've been missing? Who I think I'm kidding? You're really slipping away. You're the one I call when I wanna roll up, curl up in your lap in the corner. Sweet kiss in the back of the Hummer. Someplace I got summer. I did it to sell it to control of me. Usually it takes more than that, but can't you see? You're all I need so casually. Friends came more than that. Friends came more than that. Yeah. But it didn't last. Who the fuck you texting? You say I'm tripping, but you're steady slipping. I'm paying attention. Did I mention you always in your phone all day long? What's so wrong with showing me that attention that I've been missing? Who I think I'm kidding? You're really slipping away.
Dope. No problem at all. That picture was everything. When you sent that, I said, no. We got to say this picture for the music when we do
I
the
love
drop.
it. I love that.
Love that song. So tell us a little bit about that song.
Yes, so That song's real to me. When I wrote that song, I originally wrote it without music, and when the first time I ever actually performed it, it was my first time experimenting with performing music in front of a crowd because I was real nervous to do that, okay, and
Mhm.
doing a poetry thing. So I performed that song after doing some poetry at an open mic, and I did it a cappella,
Mm.
and they liked it. They was like, run it back, rewind." So I did it again, and, that was actually the same show that I ended up meeting my engineer, and me and him connected, but it actually took a couple months before I actually finally got in the studio with him, just because of timing and stuff. So when we finally got in the studio. That was, the first song that I recorded with him, and again, like, it was just like magic in the studio. Like, he completely understood the assignment, and
Yeah.
we just created something really beautiful with that, so
Yeah, that's dope. That's really, really dope. I
yeah.
really like that song, and I can't wait to hear more on this EP. You say it's on SoundCloud, you said?
It's on SoundCloud. Right now it's
Mm.
called It's Complicated,
It's
and it has
complicated.
that song, Different, Minding Your Peace is on
Mhm.
there.
Okay.
So it's just a shorter version of what the album is gonna be.
Okay. All right. So y'all,
Mhm.
Corey Butterfly on SoundCloud. It's complicated. How many songs do we have on this EP?
4 songs.
4 songs. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that
a
is
real
so dope.
small
I
little
can't wait.
teaser.
I'm sorry.
It's a small little teaser.
Okay. That's what's up. And when you release more music, like I said, you have open. We have open door policy. Come back, and we'll drop the needle again on any other hotness that you might have. So Corey has prepared 2 poems for us. So go ahead and take the mic, Corey, and I'll sit and we'll sit and enjoy.
Okay, okay. So the first piece that I'm gonna share is one of my most popular pieces. I know you've heard it, Calvin. Yeah, this is my, I would say, probably like my statement piece at this point. It's called Black Coffee. I met a boy on a dating app. He told me, I don't like my coffee black. I said, well, I don't like my men on crack, and you must be on crack, or your brain must be the size of a tic tac if you don't recognize the beauty in my black. Oh no, you don't offend me. It took years for me to love the soul within me. This color was painted on my skin, gold glistens from within. I wear this curly crowning, you ain't gonna catch me frowning. I can smell toxic from a mile away, so this big nose of mine is here to stay, and these thick thighs ain't gonna play. They saving lives every day. When I walk away, you see all that shade thicker than your birthday cake, so yeah, I'ma celebrate all that is black. But let me state this fact. I don't like guys that fetishize me. You go on Pornhub and search ebony, then expect me to get down on my knees 'cause you saw a version of me degraded on screen. Well, baby, not this black queen. Don't touch me like I'm an experiment. There's more to me than my appearance. I am the dream and the hope of the slaves, said Maya Angelou back in the day. I'm living a dream they never got to see. I'm flipping pages they never got to read. I'm reaping from things they never got to eat. Baby, I come from notoriety. Kings and queens in shackles fighting battles, boycotting and causing rattles. Marching through the street, 'cause ain't nobody gonna tell them they can't speak, honey. I got more strength in me than you think. Passed down the generation line. My ancestors did their time so that we would have the limelight to shine. So I grace myself with pride. Grateful I'm still alive. I walk around my head held high 'cause my limit surpasses the sky. Not worry about trying to impress you 'cause you're not my type of guy. You the type to judge others and waste my time. So get you a girl that falls more in line with the perfect criteria you got in your mind. But baby, fall back 'cause you know black don't crack, and Imma take my coffee black. Thank you.
Woo! Snap. So kind of
Thank
tell us
you.
about that one before you start the other one.
So that's really based on a true story. Like,
Okay.
I really encountered this person that said that they don't like their coffee black, and it was at the time, I definitely took offense to it. I didn't have the confidence to be able to retaliate in that moment. But, you ever been in an argument and then afterwards you're like, "This is what I should have said." That's
Right.
kinda,
Right.
and so in the processing of it, and I started writing, and again, once I started to really come to terms and start to love and celebrate everything about me that was black, it's like I just started to really connect with my ancestry and who I came from, and I felt empowered, and so it was like I was able to process something that did feel kind of offensive and hurtful in the moment,
Mhm.
but then I made something empowering out of it, and then I felt, confident and so beautiful. So yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
All right. Well, you can go ahead and start the next one when you're ready.
All right. So the next one, I'm gonna be reading it a little bit because I don't have it memorized. But
Mhm.
this is actually gonna give you guys a sneak peek on the book that I have coming out next month. So this is an excerpt from the book. I actually, Calvin, want to give you the opportunity to choose between the two. So I have two options.
Mhm.
I could share Me Too or Creating a HOE.
Creating a HRE.
What did I do? You know, I just knew you were gonna say that.
You know, you already know.
Yes, I know. All right, here
Give
we
it
go.
to us. Give it to us.
Here we go. All right. Creating a HOE. As a little girl, she prances around in her favorite dress. Confidence exudes from her body, not stress. Women look and say, she needs to cover up, projecting their pain because they've been through things they don't even speak on. Why would they? In a world where a woman speaks her mind and suddenly has to hide from all the randoms that say she must be lying. Because they knew as a teen when she would bend over backwards for the boys in the street. They hit one time, they said that girl was a freak, bragging about how they did her in the sheets. Now she's branded a hoe forever. Even after she done prayed and got her life together, she discovered her self-worth, something that was taken from her when she was too young to understand, too young to comprehend, yet they have the audacity. No, they lack the capacity to understand how a woman can give herself to a man because for so long she's submissively been a part of the clan and keep the man's ego in check. I bet. In this, she began to neglect her own self-worth. See, she was once a little girl with dreams of happily ever after, but found herself around men, and that's not what they were after. They trapped her. They created a hole. What do you know about laying down while a man takes advantage of your friendly smile, strips you of your crown, leaving you feeling empty on the inside? They don't care about your heart, the thing that makes you spark. Cause that ass though, that body yaddy yaddy, that wet ass pussy, I wanna fuck it some more. Bragging to your boys, now they wanna fuck it too. Now she creating soul ties with the whole crew. She's a bird, it's a bird trap. Yeah, she's a bird, all right, trapped in a cage, don't know how to take flight because they created a hole and she can't escape it. So she wears that itch like a badge of honor. She says, I know, I'm a hoe. She monetizes herself on OnlyFans because the world around her won't allow her to grow. She's forever a hoe. Deep down inside, she know. She misses the little girl she was before she met any of those men that didn't understand that when she trolled around in that princess dress, it's because she felt pretty, not because she wanted you to fuck her, not because she wanted you to touch her. A HOE is a hurting, overwhelmed, empowered woman. She has overcome more than she will ever speak on. So an HOE is also a healing, optimistic, empowered woman. Now she owns her body. She says, this is my body. You don't have access unless I give you access. And that's what makes her feel empowered. That's
Wow.
all.
Snap, snap, snap. I love how you tell a story in your poems. You tell
Thank
such
you.
a vivid story, that journey. I went along with you. And then when you broke down the acronym for HO,
You like that?
I like that. Because, um, dudes will say, yeah, man, that's my hoe. Yeah, I got all the hoes, but it's like you took the name and you rephrased the acronym. And
Yeah.
well, it wasn't no acronym, it's just a word, but you added an acronym to it, which
Yeah.
which allows, a woman, if she feels like that, to be empowered in that moment with those three
Hmm.
letters. That's
Yes.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Um,
Thank you.
and that's going to be in the book. Tell us more about the book. And you said it's going to be coming out when?
It's coming out next month. Coming out
Okay,
next
so
month.
next month.
Yes.
So are we looking at
Yes.
the first, the middle of the month, end of the month? What are we looking at?
I'm
You trying
hoping
to
for the
figure it out?
first, but this is my first time doing self-publishing. I'm just hoping that it works out the way I want it to.
Okay. So you got the graphics and everything to it already that you're doing?
I
You did that yourself
do.
or you had to pay someone to get it done?
I paid someone. I paid this artist. Her name is Faith. She's an amazing artist. She does a
Mhm.
lot of different paintings and portraits. And I've been following her for years. And I was like, I want you to draw for my book. So she actually did the cover and the back for it.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what avenues are you gonna be selling it through? Is it gonna be Amazon? What is it?
Yeah.
Kindle? Like, what are you gonna do you know how they release some books now and then they'll have people reading it too? Like, I think
The
Michelle
audio.
Obama did that. Your audiobook.
Yes. So yeah, I definitely it's called Hurt to Healing, a spoken word collection. So like you
Mhm.
mentioned earlier, there's a difference between poetry and spoken word. I feel like
Mhm.
the poems in this book are meant to be read but also spoken, most
Yes.
and heard. So There definitely is gonna be an audiobook version of it, but it's gonna be designed more as a spoken word album. So it's gonna be released on all streaming platforms. So you can listen to it. Uh, but the book is gonna be available to be purchased online digitally, but I'm also gonna have physical copies with me. And the goal is to always have some physical copies with me, especially throughout this year, because I'm gonna be performing and stuff like last year. I
Mhm.
pretty much went on tour,
Yeah.
performing up and down the East Coast. This
Okay.
time around, be doing the same thing, but I'll have actual books on hand, so you can
Yeah.
purchase a personalized signed copy with me at any of the shows that I'm performing at.
Okay. So when you
Yeah.
are, when you do, when you end up, going and doing your tour and you got your dates and all that type of thing, send it to me because I'll definitely
Yeah.
post it and support you so that people will
Thank
know about
you.
it.
Thank
And then if you
you.
want to come back and talk about, the tour where you're going or whatever, we can do that too. Open door policy. So yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that goes. That's cool.
Yeah.
So now you were on tour before. You said last year you were on tour?
Last year,
Really? So how many dates did you have?
I performed at least once a month, except June and December was the only months I took off.
Okay,
I performed at least once a month, but most of the time it was twice to 3 times a month.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you
I was
have
this
say it again?
I was prepping for this because I knew that this
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
was coming, so I was prepping for it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on your tour last year and
Thank you.
congratulations on the one coming up this year. You already have dates and places you're gonna be, or you're still kind of compiling that?
I'm still compiling some, but I have some in mind. I know a couple of venues and places that I definitely want to go. I
Okay.
plan on having a book signing, at least one book signing in Savannah because that's where Court Butterfly was born.
Mhm.
I'll probably also have one in Middle Georgia where Dominique was born, the Warner Robins Fort Valley area. And then I may be able to do one in up in the DMV, maybe in Atlanta, but for sure Savannah is gonna be a good one because yeah, that's where
Okay.
my largest Cory Butterfly fans are.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
You definitely have to know where your where your main supporters are and give
Yes.
them, what they wanna hear.
I gotta give back to the community that birthed me.
So why do you think representation and storytelling are so powerful right now?
I think because we've really lived up to like being a melting pot now,
Mhm,
especially in America. Like it's very, very diverse. And
mhm,
you have so many different cultures and so many different things. And I feel like now people are really wanting to celebrate all of these different cultures. And it's
mhm,
important that, kids are able to look up and see different versions. Cause even when I was growing up, I didn't see a lot of people that look
mhm.
like me. But I think it's important to be able to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, storytelling is not just poetry, it's not just music. I think storytelling is also, when you have a painter painting
Mhm.
on canvas. There's
Mhm.
so many different even a
Mhm.
musician,
Mhm.
when you hear that when you hear them low down dirty blues,
Mhm.
that's storytelling too. And I think all
Mhm.
those different facets of artistic expression
Yeah.
is, sometimes I'm like, ooh, like when I hear something, that's actually how I compile my music list. I
Mm.
have Shazam on my phone, and so when I hear stuff, I have a music list that's just miscellaneous. It's
Wow.
not a genre. It's just when I hear something, it's like I want to hear that
Yeah.
over and over and over. And then when I'm obsessed with a song, because it may resonate with where I am in my life at that moment. And you remember Sinclair on Living Single, and she will always say "woo woo 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 woo." That's what those that music
Um,
does for me. It's
I
like
like that.
woo woo. It's all right. It's
Okay.
all right. And it
Um,
kind of licking your wounds in a sense, whether it's love or some type of friendship or weight of the world. Like when I hear "What's Going On" by Marvin Gaye, that's a story being told, and
yeah.
that's a story of what's going on in the world now. Believe it or not,
Mm.
when he talks
Mm.
about that, or "Mercy, Mercy Me." I don't know if you've heard "Mercy, Mercy Me." What's going on? What's going on? What's going?
Mm.
Marvin Gaye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Many people have remade the song too. John Legend did a version of it as well, but then Mercy, Mercy Me is another song by Marvin Gaye that I think is we're in those times now dealing with,
Mm,
turmoil. But
turmoil.
all those songs tell stories. And I'm just like,
Right.
when I get to hear a good story being told,
Yes.
I'm like, Lord, thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
letting me hear it. And then I add it to my playlist so I can listen to it over and over and over. 'Cause I love some good storytelling.
Me
Love some
too.
good storytelling. There's a
Mm.
I don't know if it's a platform and it might be out of England, but there's this platform and I'll send it to you. It's on YouTube and they have artists to come on and they're singing at this mic. It's called Colors. I don't
Mhm.
know if you've ever seen it. All kinds of artists, Corey. All kinds of
Mm.
artists. And that's kind of where I saw this Bryn Joy guy. And I'm gonna
Mm.
send it to you, but it plays on YouTube, like it plays live and it just rotates, just nothing but artists that you've never heard of, up and
Mhm.
coming, all of them. And I'm just like, when I hear a new voice, I don't know if have you ever heard of this artist called Moses Sumney?
Mm-mm.
Corey. This
Yeah.
brother is amazing. He sings very high. His voice, he has really, he uses a lot of his falsetto. He's a musician. He plays the keyboard, he plays the guitar. But the way that he story tells in his music
Mm.
as a songwriter, it is amazing. I'm gonna send that to you when we get off because I
Mm.
think you'll probably enjoy it, just the
Okay.
self the expression of other artists. So but that's dope. Okay, so what responsibility, if any, do you feel sharing your story publicly?
Yeah, I would say the responsibility I have is it's especially when it comes to me sharing my story and it may
Mhm.
involve other people. I think the responsibility is being as true to to my truth, my authentic truth.
Okay.
In telling it. And then also again, being conscious of how it may land for others, but also at the same time letting go of that control, not
Mhm.
understanding that once it's out there, people are gonna dissect it and they're going to resonate with it in their own way. And that's what I think is really
Mhm.
beautiful about art. It's just very subjective. Like even as an artist, you can have an intentionality behind it. Even when you talk about like painting and stuff like that or music, like you may
Mhm.
be like, this is how I feel making it how I feel like someone else would feel, but somebody else could see it and have a whole different experience because it
Mhm.
connects with them in a different way.
Mhm.
And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree with you on that. And again, that authenticity is the main thing.
Yeah.
I have found that over the years, finding my voice and finding my authenticity and what that looks and feels like for me first, and then being comfortable in expressing that.
Right.
That's the other
Right.
part, because you can have it in here all day, be at home singing up a storm, but
Yeah.
when you decide to take it out to the world, like you said, and people are gonna dissect it, but being comfortable knowing that they're gonna do it, but that means nothing about how good you are. Your art is gonna resonate with somebody. It's
Hmm.
gonna resonate with somebody, so you don't have to worry about that, but that's a part of yourself that you have to kinda get to as far as not being insecure about your
Right.
your expression, so that's part of the artist's journey, so I
Right.
totally
Yeah.
agree with that. So, if a young person watching this feels like they don't fit in the world around them, what would you want them to hear from you?
Uh, I would want them to know that they don't need to fit in. Fitting in is boring. I've never wanted to fit in. Fitting in
Right,
is
me
so
either, me
boring.
either.
Stand out. Like following the crowd, like having, crowd mentality, herd mentality is only gonna just lead you. You're gonna follow the herd and you don't even know where they're going. They could lead you right off a
Mhm.
cliff.
Very true.
Stand in your own truth, stand in your own purpose, really get to know yourself. And it's okay if you don't like what your friends like. It's theirs. Maybe you like music, maybe you like country music and they don't like country music, but that's okay.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
you don't have to be like anybody else. You just need to be like yourself because literally you are the only you that has ever existed on this planet. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to me.
Agree. Okay,
You
okay, okay.
know?
So this next portion, because we're finally coming on round the mountain.
I
So
don't
this next portion is rapid fire. Okay.
I'm scared.
So what will happen? It's not bad. The first thing that come to mind, you just, You say what it is, and and we'll just go from there. Don't feel no kind of way. Of course,
Okay.
we're not performing or anything. This is
Right.
Corey and how Corey feel about it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, one word to describe yourself today.
Colorful.
Colorful. Okay. And if you want to explain, colorful or whatever, your answer you can, and then some you don't have to. It's totally up to you. So we good with colorful. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Morning person or night owl?
Morning person, for
Okay.
sure. Early bird gets the worm.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. So, favorite song that describes your life right now?
I would say there's a song by Levi C. It's called Worthy, and it just came out a couple weeks ago.
Oh, say it
I
again.
feel
You
like
said Levi C?
Levi C. Yeah, she's an Atlanta-based artist.
Really?
Yes, and she has a song that just dropped not too long ago called Worthy. And basically, she's saying a song like she ain't got no time to be arguing with no man. She know her worth, and she's really talking about how she's worth more than Ruby. She's worth more, than this person
Mm.
is treating her and showing
Mhm.
her that she is.
Okay.
That really is huge for me in my life right now because
Mhm.
I've gone through a lot in the past couple years, but I finally I'm at a point where my worth is not attached to somebody else and how they feel about me.
Okay. And spell that name for me.
Leebasi, Levacy.
Ivasi. Okay, I've never heard of
Mhm.
her. So I'm gonna check her
She's
out
really
when I
dope.
get when I get off when I get off
She's dope.
tonight. 'Cause
Yeah.
I love finding or discovering a new artist that I need to add to my
Yeah.
playlist. A person who inspires you. I think you said your mom.
Yes.
Okay, okay, I remember that one. Okay, a book, movie, or artist that changed your perspective.
The Book Thief. I don't know if you've ever read that book
Mhm.
before, but The Book Thief is an amazing book. I really love that
Okay,
book.
the book.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we probably can get it on Amazon, right?
Oh, yeah, most
Probably.
likely, yeah. It's interesting. It's actually told from the perspective of death. Like, death is the narrator. Mhm.
What? Who do you know who it's by?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Oh, no problem. I'm everything we talked about. Look it up when we get off. Trust me.
Okay.
I'm that person.
Yeah,
All right, a place where you feel most like yourself.
in an open mic room, in the poetry community, with the music community, like, I feel at home.
Yeah. I feel at home on stage as well, but getting there, like sitting and waiting, I be so
Uh-huh.
nervous. I can't
Yeah.
stand it.
It's like the
Can't
nerves
I
never
can't
go
wait.
away, right? No matter
Huh?
how many times you do it. It's like the nerves never really go away no matter how many times you do it. Like, do you resonate with that?
Right. Every time. It's the same thing. I get so nervous every time. And waiting and sitting and waiting, that the nerves are there. Once I get on stage, I have a little bit of nerves, but it kind of
Right.
subsides. Then once I'm
Right.
done, my body's just
And you
calm.
can relax.
I urged, I put this out into the universe,
Yep.
because my friend, somebody used to, I think it was Lily. She said, she's a good friend of mine, an amazing musician and a singer, songwriter. She said, sometimes when I be closing my eyes, I be channeling, and I do, I really, really do, because I'm trying to come from the most honest perspective of how I feel
Yeah.
to sing it in this song. I don't care if it's somebody else's song or my own. I'm trying my best to bring it forth so that that it touches somebody in the best
Mhm.
way that I can express it. That's what I usually try to do. So, but that's what's up.
Okay.
Okay. So, one thing the world needs more of right now.
Love.
Uh,
We need more love. I feel like there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of
I,
anger and yeah, love.
okay. I agree.
Unconditional.
I agree. What do you hope people feel or understand after hearing your story, your music, your poetry?
I hope that I hope people feel inspired. I hope it sparks conversation. I hope it challenges perspectives and the herd mentality of what people would expect. I hope it challenges people enough to start those conversations and
Okay.
inspire them to create art as well.
Okay.
I feel like every artist inspires another artist,
Hmm.
you know?
I agree. I
Yeah.
totally, totally agree. Well, y'all heard it from Corey Butterfly. So I want to thank you, Corey, for coming and playing with us in the sandbox and saying yes. I appreciate it so much. I was anticipating this conversation with you. Thank you so much. And I
Thank
wish you
you.
so much success on your tour, your book, your EP, everything that you have going on. I think it's beautiful. And of course, when I make the post for this episode, send me all your links so that I can make sure that people have a way to get in contact with you and follow, the tour and everything that you got going on so that they can continue supporting you. And then as far as your social media, tell us where we can connect with you on social media.
Yes, you can connect with me on Instagram at Corey Butterfly, and it's spelled QORI Butterfly. And that's the main one. I am working on getting on TikTok, y'all. Everybody can get on TikTok. I'm gonna get on TikTok. Okay, when I get on TikTok, I'll let y'all know. But
You
for
know
now,
what?
Instagram is the one.
I maybe over 3 or 4 years ago, the uncle said, you got a TikTok? I was like, what's that? I didn't know what TikTok was. I was just getting used to Snap, whatever
You know
Snap
what I'm
was.
saying? I gotta
I
get
I
used to
got
one thing
Snap.
at a time.
It's a lot that you have to maintain if you post this stuff. Cause so I have mostly all of them when it pertains to the Painfully Honest podcast, but it's a lot to maintain. So I totally feel you have one location. But I think what is good too, they have this thing called Linktree where you can put
Oh, yeah.
all of your like you can
So,
put it as a tag, that link, and it shows everywhere that you have all your information. So I'm actually working on putting all my stuff in one because it's a lot to manage and be posting and stuff. And some people are on Instagram, but they ain't on TikTok or they ain't on Facebook
mhm.
or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot to manage. So I totally feel you on that. And then any other upcoming gigs or projects that you'll be working on that we can support?
Yes, so I will be performing in the Juneteenth event in Atlanta. I think that's the week. I know that's the weekend of Juneteenth. They're still getting all the details for that.
Okay.
Next month, I'll be performing in Verses in the Valley, which is in Fort Valley, Georgia. Yes.
Okay.
I am looking for donations to help me fund my spoken word album, the
Okay.
counterpart to the book. I have the studio I'm gonna record it in and everything. He's giving me the budget for it, and I am gonna be setting up a GoFundMe and asking for donations to help
Okay.
with funding that project.
Okay.
Um, and
If
then
you already I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was also gonna say, and then I'm also on this really large project with a bunch of other really dope artists, up and coming artists and producers. I can't say too much about that one, but
Okay.
we are working on a collaborative project, and that's gonna be super cool.
Awesome. So make
Yeah.
sure you send me if you already have the GoFundMe or the donation link set up, send that to me so that I can share that as well. Because
Okay.
I usually do a whole write-up of the post for each episode. So I want to make sure they can connect with you on everything, donate, support, come see you, buy the book, buy the EP, the whole nine. So
Okay.
and so, again, thank you for coming. We're about to close out this episode. This is my hour. I don't like to say hour because it take me and the Lord to put this together. So I don't
I
say
get it.
my. It's our. So whenever you hear me say
Yes.
our, podcast, I'm talking about me and the good Lord. But to the viewers, we ask that you continue giving us your feedback here at the Painfully Honest Podcast. We need your feedback because we want to know that we're giving you quality information. So we ask that you like, share, comment, subscribe. When you look at the episodes and there was something that resonated with you, let us know. Comment, let us know so that we can continue that interaction after you have watched the episode. This episode is we're in season 1 and this is the official 5th episode. I'm just like, my mind is blown that I've gotten this far, though, that we've gotten this
Love
far
it.
with the
So proud.
podcast. But we thrive on your comments, your sharing and supporting us in the best way that you know how. And we thank you for your viewership. We are found on all social media platforms. So you're able to see that as well. And then as far as via audio only, we're on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and Spotify. So you can check us out. And just the first episode is loaded just now. I'll be loading all the other episodes later on. But right now we do have episode 1 on there, so that you can hear it via audio. And then again, please comment, and give us your feedback. We definitely want to hear from you. And then after you listen to the episode or watch the episode or however you're viewing it, please share it with someone else. Talk to someone else about it. Okay? Let us know. And so I have a few closing notes. So we're going to go ahead and close out. Again, Corey, thank you so much for coming and spending time with us and I like to say the sandbox.
Yeah.
All right. So there's something powerful that happens when someone chooses to live in their truth, not the version that makes others comfortable, but the one that requires honesty, courage, and the willingness to be fully seen. Today's conversation reminds us that finding your voice isn't a single moment. It's a journey, learning to listen to yourself even when the world is loud, and understanding that authenticity may not always be easy, but it is always free. Corey Butterfly's story reminds us that identity isn't something the world gets to assign to us. It's something we claim. And when someone has the courage to do that, their voice becomes permission for someone, permission to question, to grow, and to live more honestly. So if you're still discovering your voice, know this: you're not behind, you're not alone, and your voice matters. Corey Butterfly, thank you for sharing your story with us. And to everyone listening, thank you for being a part of this conversation. I am Calvin Payne, your host, and this has been the Painfully Honest Podcast. Stay honest, stay curious, and most importantly, stay true to yourself. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. It's painfully honest. Yeah. You know the vibes. Welcome to Painfully Honest. Yeah. You know the vibes. It's painfully honest. Welcome to Painfully Honest. It's painfully honest. Welcome to Painfully Honest. Yeah. You know the vibes, painfully honest. We lie, painfully honest. We ride, painfully honest. We vibe. We gon' get you right. Gon' get you right. Yeah, you know the vibes. Gon' get you right. Yeah, you know the vibes. Gon' get you right. Yeah, you know the vibes. Gon' get you right. Painfully honest. Welcome to Painfully Honest.